What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Shining Fireheart, and today we have deck profiling. This is my Red Dragon Archfiend deck. I've been meaning to do deck profiling for a while, and now I have a chance to, because I finally updated this deck and I've been waiting to do it for a long time. This is the first deck profile I'm going to be doing, and hopefully I can upgrade it if they get any more Red Dragon Archfiend cards coming out. So, without further ado, here we go. I'll tell you some tips and strategies into this deck. If you guys want to build your own, I'm more than welcome you to. But anyways, we're going to start off with the extra deck, which is Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. This card is good to pull out for any situation, basically, because basically if it's destroyed, you can summon out Red Dragon Archfiend or Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, but you can also negate effects with it and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster's attack, which is actually pretty cool. It can't be destroyed by a card effect or a monster's effect, which, or I think it's just only activate cards or effects in response to its summoning. Oh, camera's going loco. Sorry guys, the camera went wonky and almost tilted over, so I had to catch it without putting my hand in front of it. Anyway, so we got with King Calamity. It's actually a pretty good card for offensive strategics. As I go into it, I'm going to show you guys some strategies. Now we have Majestic Red Dragon because, well, why not? It's a Red Dragon and it's part of the Archfiend collection, so I decided to add it in here for obvious reasons, because it can gain attack equal to any monster it negates the attack the effect of. Also, when it's summoned out to the field, it can destroy all monsters in your opponent's defense positions, which could be really helpful to you. Also, during the end phase, it may return to your extra deck, but you can still special summon a Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard, which is good, because that's the whole point of this deck, to bring out Red Dragon Archfiend as quick as possible. Red Nova Dragon. This card is actually good for when you want to upgrade Red Dragon Archfiend to a more powerful monster. It may require 2 tuna monsters, but thankfully, thanks to King Calamity over here, his special ability allows you to, when it destroys a monster, you can summon up, I believe you could summon out 2 tuna monsters from the graveyard. Oh wait, no, that's Bane. Sorry guys, wrong combination. But anyways, you can also negate an attack from this by banishing Red Nova, which also comes in handy, because it gets special summoned at the end of the turn back to the field. Sorry, the camera's trying to focus on it because it's holographic. It also gains 500 attack for each tuna monster in your graveyard, and this deck is based off of getting tuna monsters out along with high-level monsters to tune for Red Dragon Archfiend. So yeah, there we go. This is the card that's good for combinations with Red Nova Dragon, because not only does it require Red Dragon Archfiend, which it does summon, because all you have to do is tribute 1 monster, and then you can automatically summon Red Dragon Archfiend from the graveyard. And when this card inflicts damage to your opponent, you're allowed to special summon 2 tuna monsters, which comes in handy. As long as they have the same level. So yeah, that's a great way to help get Red Nova out. So that's why I put 3 Red Dragon Archfiend Banes in here, specifically for that purpose and that purpose alone. Next up, for the extra deck, we have Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend. This is also another good card to have in your Red Dragon Archfiend deck, because not only does it like Red Nova, it takes 2 tuner monsters, which again Red Dragon Archfiend Bane can help you get out real quickly. But it also has 2 other effects. It can destroy all cards on the field, and the only card that's allowed to attack is, well, right here, Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend. But still, that's still a powerful monster considering it has 3,500 attack points. And also, its second effect, it can negate the activation of a spell or trap, and if it does, it gains 500 more attack. So that's a pretty strong combination for a monster to have, especially since you can only use each effect of it, Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend's effects once per turn. But it's still very handy in a duel, considering that most people will either use one spell or trap card against a monster most of the time in a duel. If they use more than one, well then it's still not a complete loss, because you still have you can still summon other Red Dragon Archfiends from this deck that will really mess your opponent's strategies up. Next we have Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. This card is also a good way to bring out your Red Dragon Archfiend because of its quick effect. Sorry guys, it's trying to focus. Because you can target one monster your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn. That's good for like if you have like a field that you can't use activate cards from the graveyard, like Necro Valley, or cards that just in generally aggravate you, that you just want to shut it down, get it out of the way. But it also allows you when you inflict battle damage, you can summon a tuner monster from your graveyard. So that's 2 good effects that it has that can help you in battle. So yeah, so it's like Bane, only it summons 1 tuner instead of 2, and that's still good because you can still bring out Red Dragon Archfiend, the original, and when it attacks a monster in defense position, you can destroy all the defense position monsters your opponent controls. And the only downside effect to having the original Red Dragon Archfiend is because if you don't attack with any other monster, all other monsters that didn't attack are destroyed. Then we also have Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, which is also a good card to have because it's also counted as Red Dragon Archfiend. When it's either on the field or in the graveyard, but still, it can destroy all monsters on the field and that were special summoned. And so long as they have equal to or less than this monster's original attack, on the field, and it deals 500 points of damage to your opponent for each one. So that's why I have 2 of them in here for this extra deck. Now for the main monsters, we have Mirror Resonator. It's a good tuner to have, because when it leaves the field, because if your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, you're allowed to summon this card from your hand or graveyard. You can also but when it's summoned like this, it's banished when it leaves the field. So that's a downside. But you can also use it to bring out Red Nova Dragon or Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend. So yeah, that's also a good point of view. Then we have Chain Resonator. You're going to be hearing a lot of Resonator. But like its effect says, when this card is no zone while a synchro monster is on the field, you can special summon 1 Resonator from your deck, which can also help you bring out, since you're going to need another tuner monster to summon Red Nova or Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend. It's good to have more tuners on the field to get it out quick. And this is a Barrier Resonator. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can just basically target 1 tuner monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by battle. So, and you would take no battle damage from it. So it's basically like Karibo, only instead of just not taking any battle damage or damage period. You also get your monster save. So Synchron Resonator is a good card for when you have special summoned a Synchro monster, because you can automatically summon Synchron Resonator from your hand automatically. You can also, and then when it's sent to the field, you can target one Resonator in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So that's actually a very good effect to have when you need it the most. And then of course we have Dark Resonator, which can't be destroyed once per turn, by battle at least. Then we have a Clock Resonator, another tuner monster. And like its effect says, it can also make sure that one of your Resonators can't be destroyed by battle or card effects that turn. So you can basically save itself, just like Dark Resonator. Then we have Creation Resonator. This card is also like Synchron Resonator, where if you have a Synchro monster that's on the field, you can automatically summon it, special summon it from your hand. But it has to be a level 8 or higher Synchro monster, which Red Dragon Archfiend in this deck are all level 7 or higher. So that's why I put 2 in here, just for the effect to bring out. Then we have Double Resonator. If it's normal summon or special summon, you can target one face-up monster on the field, and then this card is treated as a, the target is treated as a tuner monster for the turn it used it. You can also banish it from your graveyard, target one fiend monster, and make it into a tuner as well. So that's actually like a pretty good deal in case you need like a tuner monster right away. You also have Flare Resonator, which is also a good tuner monster when it's used as a synchro summon a monster, that synchro monster gains 300 more attack, which is actually very good, because you want to amp up Red Dragon Archfiend if you can, or even Red Nova. Then we have Red Resonator. When it's summoned, you can normal summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand. And when this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up monster on the field, gain life points equal to its attack. So that's not a bad idea, especially if you summon Red Wyvern, in which case I'm going to be adding to this deck pretty soon, but I'm not sure if I should or not. And I'm thinking about it. That's why I added 2 Red Resonators. Then we have Majestic Dragon. I only have 1 in here, guys, because I used the other 2 I only have like 3 Majestic Dragons, and I only use one of them in here and the other in my YuGiOh deck. And it's good for bringing out my Majestic Red Dragon. We also have another tuner monster, Trap Eater. If your opponent has like a face-up continuous trap or so on their field, you can use Trap Eater to... Oh, camera's moving. And it can't focus. You can automatically summon this card by destroying the trap that you had. So if your opponent has like a trap that you really hate, this can help you get rid of it. That's why I added like 2 of them in here. Then we have Top Runner, another tuner monster. I know you guys wondering where all the tough monsters are. They're coming. Relax. All face-up synchro monsters you control gain 600 attack. So that's good when you summon it. If you have like Red Dragon Archfiend, Abyss. And here we are, regular monsters. We have Red Sprinter. When this card is the only monster that is normal summon or special summon, while you control no other monster, you can special summon a level 3 or lower fiend type tuner monster from your hand or the graveyard, which is good for bringing back some of the Resonators that are in your graveyard. And you can only use that once per turn. So that's why I added 2 of those in here. Then we have Red Mirror, which is also good for like deflecting attacks. because you not only does it negate any damage you'll take, but it also targets a fire type fiend type monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And if you synchro summon while this card's in the graveyard, you can add this card as well to your hand, so like you can be able to use it again to synchro summon, or use it as synchro material, or even use it to add another resonator from your hand. It doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't stop damage. It only brings back the fire type resonators, like flare resonator or red resonator. Sorry guys, I can't say. And so I added 2 red mirrors in here for that purpose only. And then we have red warg. As you can see, I have more than 1 in here. And when it's normal summon when you normal summon a resonator monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, but its attack is halved. So that's a great way to bring out red warg right away, and then synchro summon right away Red Dragon Archfiend. So I added 3 of them in here to help out with that, because no matter what, you'll have a resonator in your hand with this deck. Then of course we have some defense for it with Red Gardener. So as long as you control a Red Dragon Archfiend monster, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. This monster you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So in other words, if your opponent tried to destroy Red Dragon Archfiend with a spell or trap, you can instantly stop it with Red Gardener. And we have 2 Red Gardeners in here. Then we have Battle Fader. Yeah, I know. This just basically stops if you're being attacked directly, you can stop it automatically by special summoning it from your hand. But it's banished when it leaves the field, like when it leaves the field from this effect. We have Small Piece Golem, which is good for synchro material, because when you have Big Piece Golem and Medium Piece Golem, you can automatically summon this from your deck. So that's another reason for it. Then we have Big Piece Golem. And you can basically summon this without triggering a monster if your opponent has monsters and you don't. So that's a quick way to bring a high level monster out with strong attacks. Wandering King, Wild Wind. And this card will gain 1500 attack. So long as you control a Fiend type tuner monster with 1500 or less attack, you're basically able to special summon Wild Wind from your hand. But you cannot special summon any other monsters from your extra decks except for synchro monsters. You can also banish this card from your graveyard and add a tuner monster. So that's also good news for you if you want to summon. We also have Vice Dragon in here, which is also good for some offense and defense in a way, but it's also good to get quick summoning out for Red Dragon Archfiend, because if your opponent controls monsters and you don't, you can also special summon this card, but its attack and defense are cut in half. So yeah, it's basically like a roulette with it. Then we have Resonator Engine. We're getting into the spells now. You can select 2 Resonator monsters from your graveyard and add 1 level 4 monster from your deck to your hand and return the selected monsters to your deck. So basically, you can add 2 Resonators to your deck and add a monster to your hand that you need. So that's why I put 3 of them in here. Then we have Resonate Destruction. When you synchro summon using a Resonator, you can automatically destroy 1 card on your opponent's side of the field. So, also it's destroyed after the second end phase, so that's why it's always good to have a couple of them in here to really set the score high. Then we have Resonator Call. It basically does as it said. It adds a Resonator to your hand. Soundproofed is a card that we just got from our thousand random Yu-Gi-Oh cards from Amazon that I added in here. If you control no synchro monster, neither player can special summon a synchro monster until the next end phase, which is good for you because if your opponent is going to synchro summon right away and use a smaller synchro to make a Excel synchro right away, it shuts it down. Sorry guys, my throat's getting dry here. Mind Trust is a good spell to have. Hopefully this camera will stay still. You contribute a level 2 or higher monster and basically add a tool monster from your graveyard to the total whose level is less than or equal to half of the tributed monster. Basically, tribute Red Dragon Archfiend, you can summon out a level 4 or lower tuner monster. Scarlet Security is also good for when you have Red Dragon Archfiend on the field, because you can destroy all your opponent's spell and trap cards that they control on the field. So I put in 3 of those for this deck. Uh-oh, can't focus. Twin Twisters. The light's gonna drag it in. Basically, you discard 1 card, destroy 2 spell or trap cards on the field. Advanced draw. You contribute one of your your synchro monsters to basically draw 2 cards if you need it. That's really a gamble whether or not I put that in there, thinking it would be helpful. Monster Reincarnation is also a good card in here to have. And then we have Heavy Storm to get rid of your opponent's spell and traps, basically. Here we go. Red Cocoon. Basically, this enables you to bring back Red Dragon Archfiend back to your field. No matter what. Whether you bring it out to the field with it, once it's destroyed, you can just bring the Red Dragon Archfiend right back. That's basically how I played these cards, and I've put 3 of them in here just for that occasion. Red Supremacy. Basically, you banish a Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard, and then target 1 Red Dragon Archfiend synchro monster you control. You can target one of your Red Dragon Archfiend monster, synchro monster you control, and it becomes the same name, and its effect is also replaced with the Red Dragon monster you banished. So if you need to get the effect from one of the Red Dragon Archfiends in your graveyard, you can use it to do it like that. But I would use that as a last resort unless you really need it right then and there. Crimson Fire is a good card to have for especially when you have Red Dragon Archfiend, because when your opponent activates a spell or trap card that inflicts damage to you while you control Red Dragon Archfiend, you take no damage, and your opponent takes twice the amount of the effect damage that you would have taken. So that's a good counter trap. Red Carpet is actually a good card I found. If you have like Red Dragon Archfiend on your field, you can target 2 Resonator monsters in your graveyard, special summon them. So that's good, also helping for Red Nova. Synchro Call is another good card I found to add in here, because it allows you to target a monster in your graveyard and special summon it, even though its effects are negated. And once you do that, you can automatically synchro summon a Dark Dragon or Fiend type synchro monster using only monsters you have on the field. So again, that's not bad to help you synchro summon right away. Reject Reborn. If you get attacked directly, you can end the battle and special summon 1 tuner monster and 1 synchro monster from your graveyard. Like I said again, I'm gonna add Red Wyvern in here probably soon if I can find some, if I can get some. King's Continents When your opponent declares a direct attack, you can negate the attack, and then you can basically banish monsters in your graveyard to synchro summon, so long as the monster's total level equals, so long as the monsters you're banishing equal up to the level that you need for the Red Dragon Archfiend you want to summon. It's basically treated as a special summon. Reanimation Wave. You basically, when you attack directly, you can select one synchro monster in your grave that has less than or equal to the attacking monster, and the battle damage you would take is halved. And once that happens, you can bring back the banished synchro monster, which would be a Red Dragon Archfiend. Slip of Fortune is actually a card I wanted to add in here, because you can negate and remove from play the attacking monsters until your next standby phase. So that actually comes in handy if you're attacked directly. If you don't have your monsters out quite yet, it helps you. Space Gate is also another one. It also allows you to gain the counters you need to summon a high-level monster in your hand by destroying this card and using its effect to bring out like Vice Dragon or Big Piece Golem or whatever you're trying to bring out real quick, so you can tune it to make Red Dragon Archfiend. Then we have Meteor Flare. Basically, by sending 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard, and while your opponent has 3,000 or more life points, you can basically inflict 2,000 life points, 2,000 points of damage to your opponent. And you can add this card back to your hand instead of, if it's in the graveyard, instead of your normal draw phase. Then we have Power Wall. Basically, during the battle, if you would take battle from an opponent's monster's attack, you can basically send the top card of your deck to the graveyard for every 500 points of damage. And you would take no damage from the battle at all, basically, from every mount. Then, of course, Storming Mirror Force. This is for all you rage attackers that love to attack all at once. I say rage attackers because there are duelists out there that just want to attack you with everything just to eliminate your life points so you cannot stop them. This is basically for them. Basically sends all their high level monsters back to their hand or extra deck. Thank you guys so much for watching this deck review of my Red Dragon Archfiend deck. I will try to get Red Wyvern to add to this deck because it would seem like a very good addition to this. And let me know what you guys think of this, and let me know if you guys actually want to build your own deck based off of this. And if you guys have any deck profiles of your own Red Dragon Archfiend decks, I would love to see it, to see if I can improve my own. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on that bell icon to get notified when I upload videos. As always, guys, be sure to rev it up. Bye.